вернусь к той. Ее рабочее или научное название, тема, предмет была таким: алгоритм и сценарий перехода к постлиберальной России. Сценариев больше, чем 3. А название уже издательское, что называется, на публику, называется так: «Россию ждет революция». Так вот, сценариев больше. Первый, самый оптимальный сценарий был бы, если бы Путин вдруг понял, что он натворил. Вдруг увидел возможность разворота, называется это цезарианский разворот, разогнал бы бояр своих.
Это вариант опричнины.
Да, да. Но он реализовывался в разных странах в разные исторические периоды. Это сталинский был ренессанс 30-х годов. Это стрельба по штабам Мао Цзэдуна была. Это технология. Причем в нашей патерналистской стране, когда царь-батюшка для народа всегда хорош, народ бы поддержал этот разворот.
Особенно после Крыма.
Крым показал, каков потенциал консолидации.
Если бы после Крыма он сказал, что бояр надо...
Да, поддержали бы, на руках бы его голосовали до смерти. Надеюсь, не скорой. Надеюсь на это. Так вот, это первый вариант. Его вероятность устремилась к нулю.
Да.
Второй вариант, тоже с нулевой вероятностью, это демократические перевыборы, оппозиция с другой, скажем, парадигмой, там, с проектом нашей Конституции, там, с нашими разработанными доктринами переобустройства страны, уже вот такой пакет.
Ну, про выборы мы говорили в первой части.
Ноль вероятность. Дворцовый переворот назревает, и он назреет к 2019 году. Сейчас скажу, с каким темпом и по каким причинам. Путин перестанет окончательно устраивать элиту, и больше того, Путин обретет к этому периоду, по нашим прогнозам, из сегодняшнего мониторинга, наблюдения, я это впервые говорю, потенциал недееспособности. Вот, к сожалению, с возрастом всякое бывает с людьми. Борис Николаевич Ельцин впал в деменцию и в слабоумие совершенно четкую к концу года, к концу своего этого периода. Так вот, этот процесс идет, и он будет уже совсем неприемлемым примерно к концу 2019 года, что приведет к элитным внутридворцовым мероприятиям.
Если экономика не убьет раньше.
Будет нарастает сейчас вероятность революции оранжевой.
То есть либералы?
Либеральной. Причем эта вероятность подогревается не только с болотной и с зелеными потоками из океана. Она разогревается половиной властвующего режима. Пятая колонна – это не выдумка. Они действительно работают на этот разогрев. Привожу доказательства. Если взять основные макроэкономические и макрофинансовые показатели борьбы Путина и его правительства с кризисом в 2008-2009 году, ну так условно покажу, они менялись вот так, с целью борьбы с кризисными явлениями. Эти же показатели на сегодня в условиях такого же кризиса, дефицит финансов, цена на нефть, дефицит бюджета, спад там и так далее, они направлены вот так. Те же люди. Не вот так с целью борьбы с кризисом, а вот так с целью чего? Углубление кризиса, усугубление кризиса. Причем начинается растаскивание, новая волна приватизации. Страну с молотка фактически.
Об этом говорили на Гайдаровском сходе.
Да,
Шабаш.
С молотка пускать собираются. Это значит что? Крысы на корабле, открыв Кингстон или прогрызшие дырки в дне, пускают этот Титаник на дно, а с него тащат то, что могут успеть утащить. Поэтому вероятность оранжевой революции нарастает.
Завод утащить тяжело, а вот деньги, которые были получены за его приватизацию, и вытащить их из бюджета гораздо проще.
Да, и меньшими темпами, меньшим уровнем, у меня перед глазами эти количественные графики прогнозов, и мы ими, конечно, поделимся. На нашем сайте rusrent.ru они уже вывешены в виде итогов года 15 и прогнозов, что нас ждет. Там эти графики представлены. Нарастает вероятность, как мы ее называем, социализирующей, оздоравливающей страну революции. То есть определенные гражданские, политические, экспертные, профессиональные силы в стране, вот примерно как мы, начинают уже осознавать, куда страна, в какую часть тела погружена, и что нужно сделать, чтобы ее хотя бы спасти от геополитического распада.
Ну вот у вас не возникало такой мысли, что раскачивая, как сейчас говорят, лодку, вы тем самым играете на руку тем же американцам, потому что они тоже хотят сместить Путина, и где вероятность и какова, главное, того, что смещение Путина приведет к власти кого-то осмысленного, кого-то готового отставить интересы России, а не Вашингтона.
Игорь, что значит не приходило в голову? Мы там в форумах, мы в письмах от оплаченных зондеркоманд получаем много всякого дерьма, включая вот этот рефрен. Не раскачивайте лодку. Да про вас еще Достоевский говорил, какие вы бесы. Да вы тут помайданить решили и так далее. Очень сложная политико-психологическая ситуация. Вот смотрите, лодка уже наполовину погрузилась в воду, мы знаем, как ее спасти, мы пытаемся через 2 банки там переступить, чтобы дырку заткнуть, а нам говорят, не раскачивайте лодку, лодка вот-вот утонет. Ну, примерно так, если говорить об образах. Если сейчас не кричать, не звонить в колокола, что экономика не суверенно уродлива, что руководство страной – это главная угроза для нашей страны, что, к сожалению, волевой человек, который много сделал для страны, мы объективны и справедливы, Владимир Владимирович Путин, ее президент, перестал управлять процессом, что, к сожалению, это главная угроза для нашей страны, то это значит не создавать даже шанса для того, чтобы появились другие экспертные институты, чтобы он был вынужден переназначить беспомощного, никчемного премьера и его правительства на иное. Ну, как когда-то Ельцин сделал, назначив Примакова.
Но Путин своих не сдает.
Да не надо сдавать. Пусть их посадят там, не знаю, на Банкино, в Куршавеле, там, пусть они купаются в своей роскоши.
Я подозреваю, что многие зрители после ваших слов посадят, сначала воодушевились, потом все-таки расстроились, потому что посадить в России их хотят далеко не на банки.
Еще раз, от ненавистничества, от желания отомстить, от желания наказать, конструктивная программа не очень получается. Вот сосредоточиться на конструктивной программе. Вот в этом плане 10 марта будем проводить в Рэдиссон Славянское так называемое российское бизнес-собрание по проблеме денежно-кредитной политики. Зачем? Да не только за тем, не столько, и вообще не за тем, чтобы в очередной раз сказать, что Набиуллина неграмотный, неквалифицированный человек, Тулин, Юдаева и так далее, им, может быть, в районном отделении
Люкаев,
Сбербанка,
и так далее,
не более того, не для этого, а для того, чтобы профессионально, собрав голос реальных участников экономических отношений, показать денежно-кредитная политика, демонетизация рублевого оборота, безумная ключевая ставка. Это глубоко ошибочная, вот, усугубляющая кризисные явления в стране политика. Ее можно и нужно заменить на иную. Построены модели, вычислены инфляционные последствия. Инфляция упадет. Суверенный инвестиционный портфель увеличится не до, а на минимум 100 миллиардов долларов. Бизнес вам вот под столом приготовлено 100 миллиардов долларов для долгосрочных, там, поблизких к нулевым ставкам рефинансирования, кредитные ресурсы. Вот о чем нужно говорить. Пакет государственно-управленческих решений разработан под ключ. Здесь подпись Путина не хватает, здесь подпись там инициатора законопроектов по изменению режима инвестиционной деятельности федеральной власти, режима деятельности Центрального банка России. Вот это передать самым добрым чувством.
В этом пакете есть расстрельный список?
Нет, и не нужно сейчас этого, не нужно. Вы понимаете, Игорь, вот те сценарии, о которых мы начали говорить, они, к сожалению, включают.
Что вы думаете, вот эти люди вот просто так отдадут власть, они не пойдут на тоже дворцовые перевороты?
Страшно говорить о том, что страна выйдет за грань легитимной жизни. Это ужас. Это ужас на пороге.
Но она уже выходит.
Это прежде всего президент сейчас должен понять, до какой грани он довел страну. В этой ситуации, вот, ну не знаю, себя хвалить нельзя, но тем не менее, нам кажется, что граждане, патриоты страны, профессиональные люди, понимая, что не в силах уберечь страну от того, что она эту грань перейдет, хотя бы подготовить какие-то эшелоны к этой ситуации, чтобы это не свалилось как снег на голову завтра утром, чтобы эксперты, профессионалы, политики, не знаю, какие-то отставники там, активные граждане были бы готовы там условно выйти на улицу и защитить Москву там от оранжевого Майдана. Его что же готовит? Или защитить Москву и страну от безумных действий совершенно беспомощного и разваливающего страну правительства там, или каких-то авантюристов, которые вдруг там... Дворцовый переворот ведь одновременно действительно будет назревать. Вот к этому надо быть готовым. И это есть, мне кажется, самая ответственная, патриотическая, легальная, законная деятельность, экспертная деятельность.
Ну вот hello everybody, welcome. This is Terrell from Terrell3.com. Today is January 28th, 2016. This is the Black Star Update Report for Volume 4, Terrell's 2016 newsletter. And what the seismic, volcanic, and magnetic North Pole migration indicators say is that Earth is moving through the final stages of the second Earth change low period for the 2015 Earth orbit cycle relative to the Black Star. Black Star is now in the Libra constellation, moving just below the ecliptic plane. Here's a listing of week 52 for the 2014 and 2015 orbit cycles. And you see they're pretty much the same. We have one less 6 magnitude quake this year, about the same number of 5 magnitude quakes, and a lower number of the 2.5 to 4 magnitude earthquakes. In fact, this line is almost identical to week 51 for the 2014 cycle. I was going to show that, but we don't really need to. A lot of people seem to think that we're in an Earth change uptick period by looking at recent events, but the data says not. And those that are wondering about the 7.1 Alaskan quake, remember that came on Sunday. And the chart, this chart runs from Sunday to Saturday. So it just missed being in week 52. You'll see a 1 right here with a red letter. It's going to be a red 1 right here because we did have one 7 magnitude earthquake, and I didn't expect it this soon, actually. But this is very near the area where the subterranean magma wave coming from Japan through Kamchatka through the Alaska quake swarm area, that's where it stalled. If you look down, if you look at where the 3 new volcanic eruptions took place down in South America and over in Kamchatka, again, areas where the 2 subterranean magma waves stalled. So that's a lower than expected value with the 3, but that is going to continue on the uptick once we get through into the Earth change uptick period that's coming. So let me briefly look here. We're in I should have darkened that right through here. There should be a darkened week here, make it easier for me to make this report. And we're in week 52. Right down here, week 52. 244 last year, we went down to 239 and then 219. Then on the first week of the cycle, we went to 180. I expect that number to be about 185 this year, but that seemed, it seemed really unlikely when we had this 402. But you see, we are right on our way
I said, wouldn't it be something if we got to outside orbit position the first week of the next cycle? We have a 53 and a 54 coming in, week 53 and 54, and then we should be right around 185, right here. Even though, I mean, if we don't get there, then the reason is going to be, it's going to be pretty simple. It's because of the quake swarm areas right here this has nothing to do with fracking. Fracking goes on throughout the United States. This is a quake swarm area that is located in the southern region of the North American craton. This activity, this swarm area, intensified. Look how many quakes you got there. This swarm area began developing after 2013. That's whenever the Oklahoma quakes started moving higher and higher and higher. This is a sudden event over the last 2 years, right here. And looking at the last week of quakes here, you see that there has been a slowdown over here with the, what I'm calling the Jamaica quake swarm area. You got some activity shifting over, see the 4s, shifting over into Cuba. But this is the reason, is what's happening over here in proximity here to the North American craton. And we're still in the low period. Remember I told you, like on this side of the Earth, we see all these lines overlapping one another. That was not the case with the Americas, but it is now. We're seeing increased activity all the way across here. We still have, well, it would be a dead zone if we didn't have the big old 7.1 up here. These lines, we would still see the dead area right through here, but this, once upon a time, was the California quake swarm area, and it is proliferating into Canada, right through Yellowstone, right here. Things are slowing down because of where Earth is in the solar system. Nothing to do with fracking. This pattern goes for years. Okay, the black star is right here at my cursor. It's right in this area right here relative to the sun. I'm not saying that it's beyond Saturn. I actually think it's much closer than that. But when you look down on the solar system, notice that the Earth has not quite yet made that 90-degree angle that I'm expecting to see here just about with the new moon. It's going to be in the first week of February right through here as the moon's swinging around between the Earth and the sun. It's going to be just about right here. The last outside orbit position date was January 19th, 2015. Add 11 to 13 days. That's where we should be here, and we should see the lowest number of quakes because the black star is going this way. The Earth is passed behind the sun relative to the black star on January the 24th. Now we've been moving towards outside orbit position over here. See, we're back here for the Peruvian quakes, and now we've been going to outside orbit position, the opposite direction of the black star. That causes the magnetic portal connection that we're dragging behind us to shorten. I'm sorry, to lengthen. Got it backwards. And as it does, the black star electromagnetic potential reduces because the straw that it's pushing it through is getting thinner. It's getting smaller. Lower percentage of active conduits inside the magnetic portal connection. Even though the black star is getting closer to the sun, its electromagnetic potential is increasing. Still, Earth moving away. This is what's creating the two uptick periods. Here's one uptick period coming for 2016 when we're moving towards Libra. We have to be moving towards Libra. Then we come into alignment. That's going to be May the 7th. We're going to have a May 7th event right through here. It gets a little busy. Notice Mars is right behind us. So we have opportunity for another mysterious Martian dust storm from the convergence of these magnetic portal connections. So the black star is out this way. The black star is a magnetic portal connection to our planet, and as we're passing through right here, these portal connections, the one from the sun to the black star, the one from the Earth to the black star, and the one from the Earth to the sun, they're converging on one another. We're going to see solar flare activity from this. And as they're converging at the black star location, they should push another wave through those converging portals by being squeezed together, push through Mars for us to see another Martian dust storm like we saw March 12th, 2012. That's what I'm expecting to see. Although Mars was a little behind Earth at that time, this time it's a little ahead. It's still on the backside of Earth relative to the sun and the black star. So that's what I'm expecting to see moving forward. Right now, we are still back here. We're on the 28th here. So we have not made the 90-degree angle yet. Watch for the 2.54 magnitude earthquakes to continue to diminish. We should have minimum values the first week of February, and then we start the magnetic portal connection tightens up. We have the jolt value for the 2.5s first. Then we're going to have the 5 magnitude earthquake. We're going to have the 6 magnitude earthquake jolt in the 5th week. And that's the same pattern we've had for the last few years. I'm going to be watching things. I'm not going to update the timeline until we get beyond outside orbit position and I see that the current pattern is holding. And we go back to the newsletter. Then before I get into the magnetic pole migration stuff, then Wesley sent some good questions here, and my updated, this will probably be written in stone. This calls for a black star magnetically induced geological pole shift May the 20th, 2017. That's the way it looks. By then, we're going to have the May 7th. There should be a listing here for the May 7th near side alignment event. That's what's coming, and we're going to be able to know by reaching outside orbit position at my marked time. We're going to reach the alignment position May the 7th at the marked time, go to outside orbit position on the summer side at the marked time. I'm expecting us to stay right on track because the new modeling. The new modeling is the binary star magnetic, well, it's actually a reverse polarity repulsion model. Sounds kind of complicated. What it means is the black star has opposite polarity of the sun, and it's actually slowing down as it's reaching the sun. That sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But it's the only model that explains the regular seismic pattern that matches the magnetic pole migration pattern. Adding the 11 to 13 days each year for years, that's impossible for an object on elliptical orbit unless it's slowing down proportionate to near proximity to the sun. That's the only way it's possible. So what the Canadian student has observed with binary stars repelling one another, that's the explanation, and that's the source of the new modeling. And I'm not just going to jump out on a limb and change everything yet, but when we get beyond outside orbit position here, everything, I'm pretty sure it's going to be right on time, and then I'm going to be updating the charts and graphs and things like that. Now let's get back up here to what's happening with the magnetic North Pole, and you see that it is continuing to make this move. Looks like pretty much the same line as last year. It's just a little bit outside last year's orbit. I mean last year's path, if you will. And we're going to get just beyond this 0, 0 line right here, and then we're going to see a straight shot straight down. This curve happens at outside orbit position right here. The relationship of the magnetic portals. Let me try to explain that. That's what changes things right here. So, black star is in Libra. Whenever the Earth is behind the sun relative to the black star, then we have two magnetic portal connections, one from the black star and one from the sun, connected to our planet on the same side of our planet. It's flip-flopping because they're connecting and disconnecting on regular cycles. The Sun-Earth magnetic portal connection connects, disconnects, and reconnects on 8-minute cycles. The black star is going to be different, especially because it has varying proximity as it's getting closer and closer. You should expect that that time is speeding up. So when it's far, far away, it connected in early 2000s, I'd say around 2004, whenever the northern ice sheet depletion became severe, and Earth metals, translating that electromagnetic energy into heat energy through induction. So that's the pattern. They've been flip-flopping on the same side of our planet while we're on the back side of the sun for 6 months. As we're getting near the outside orbit position over here, then something strange happens. These magnetic portal connections are now at a 90-degree angle over here. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're reaching that 90-degree position. Okay, so there is a transition period right here that we're going through, and going through this, eventually these magnetic portal connections will be connecting and disconnecting on the opposite sides of the planet. That's how it is when we're between the two stars over here. We have the black star connecting and disconnecting on the back side, the sun connecting and disconnecting on this side. So that we're moving through the transition period where all that changes from flip-flopping to connecting and disconnecting on the opposite sides. This over here is whenever the magnetosphere experiences fluctuations because of that transition, and the magnetic lines are bent, many going east and west. The animals, migrating animals, they follow those bent lines and they end up lost. You're seeing sperm whales around the planet right now getting lost. A lot of that reporting we see as time goes on. This was very predictable at outside orbit position in earlier cycles, but now once you get a collapse of the food chain sufficient, then the animals just keep dying year round. But it was at outside orbit position on either side of the solar system in the winter and the summer whenever we were seeing this activity intensified, focused. Now it's pretty much spread throughout the year. That's in transition too. Very predictable earlier on either side in winter and summer orbit, but now because the way that the food chain is set up, it's not always migrating animals now. The fish, the herring, the crabs, the migrators, the whales, it's not just them, it's the food, they are food for animals higher up the food chain that are being affected by that. Then you have Fukushima radiation, you have outgassing of the volcanoes now, increased volcanic activity, so that's poison to migrating animals. And so there's more than just one cause besides the magnetics, as on previous orbit cycles. So lots and lots of reporting on mass animal deaths in this newsletter, and that is what we should expect near outside orbit position. So expect now that we're going to see this dip coming right around the corner. Should be a similar shape to what we saw last year. That's severe turn, as if it's because of this transition with the magnetic portal connections. It looks as if this path is just going to go back to the center here for a minute, but then it begins moving back outward again and stabilizing, and this is where it should be on March the 27th, 2016. This one was hit right on. We'll see if this marker's hit right on, then I'll be making the prediction for down here. Whenever it's going to reach the bottom of the chart down here, and I'll put a marker here, and then we'll have a marker for the backside too, so that we get about a 3-month prediction ahead of time precisely where this guy's going to be. I want to get closer over here to see if we're trailing behind more, if it's speeding up. But now with the repulsion model, I believe this is going to be very firm. So in previous modeling, I was expecting black star increase in inbound velocity. As it's getting closer to the sun in the center of the solar system, it's supposed to be going faster and faster. But the magnetic repulsion is what's causing it not to do that. So lots of the models are being thrown away. Don't want to just throw them all away. I want them to be proven false. So I have to wait to get beyond my marker positions. That's what's going on right here. So let me see. Yeah, there's going to be X-class flares associated with the May 7th, 2016 event. That's going to remain, it looks like, once I get beyond outside orbit position, I'll be able to write it down in stone. But it's using the repulsion model, this is only a 6th, 7th, and 8th model. Event window. It's not like previous where I had 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. No. This is a very small window right here. Right around May the 7th. Big earthquake event like Nepal, like Fukushima, like Chile. Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire, likely, and focus on the Americas. Could be on the American side this time. Last time, it was Nepal, 7.8 off the Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire, but that would turn out to be a key event that has now sent earthquakes moving in a line straight through the Rock of Gibraltar over there. You guys notice the bigger quakes we're having over there, new quake swarm areas forming, and that is the result of the Nepal quake. So we had pressures shifting towards the Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire. Let me give you a globe to look at. The Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire. Some of this quake activity off of here. Oh, I can show you the Gibraltar swarm right here. But notice that this is a progression, a straight line progression, after Nepal. Following. So after Nepal, a month later, we had the deep 677 kilometer deep 7.8 Japan quake, and that changed things around on this side. All these quakes began getting deeper, moving north and south. But see, this Nepal quake is turning out to be almost as important as the Solomon Island quake, February 6, 2013, and the 8.3 Chile quake from the blast backside alignment that created the reset Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire. That's when we did not have a 6 magnitude earthquake for a 5-week period. That hasn't happened in the last 5 years, except for following that 8.3. So this Gibraltar, and this is one of the reasons people are writing me and saying, hey man, we're in an uptick period. Look what's happening over here. No, this is natural progression. For this activity to move straight across, expect that we're going to see more activity along the mid-Atlantic ridge, like you're seeing here and here. Expect that you're going to see more of that as this pressure continues to move towards the Atlantic Ocean from Nepal. Expect that. That's going to happen. I'm expecting northern movement out of Italy. Let me see if I can see you. Here we go. Out of Italy, see where this, it wants to be a swarm area right in here, but it just hasn't got there yet. It's diminished. But I'm expecting, instead of this move towards the Atlantic, I was actually expecting it to move north into this super volcano here. It just hasn't happened yet. Yellowstone, far ahead, far ahead, and it's because of being in the convergence zone where these two waves are coming together over on this side. And you may be thrown off by the fact that we've had a reduced activity, but remember that's because we're at outside orbit position. This is going to turn around. You're going to see big time. Those of you that think that we're in an uptick period, just wait until we get into May. And even on the way to May, we're going to see lots and lots of 7s really close together, just like we've seen every time we're at near side and backside alignment to the black star in the Libra constellation. Then that means for the 2015 orbit cycle we just left, that's the end of April and in November. Everything shifts around, so now we have May in the beginning of December for the next orbit cycle. Those are going to be the focal points of the big activity. This is a lull period. This is what the lull period looks like now, because nearing black star proximity, and these magma waves are changing the entire dynamic of what's going on over here. This is going to be the destruction zone right here when these two waves come together. Is it going to be on this uptick period or the next uptick period that begins in September? September 1st, we're going to go through December with another uptick period. Usually it's not as big, but we're just, I don't know if the waves are going to build up enough momentum to meet each other here in the middle, but the key indicator here is going to be the depth of these quakes. We were 1 to 11 kilometers on previous orbit cycles. Now I'm seeing that we're getting into the 20s here, but still that's because this area is protected by what's locked right through here in Cascadia. Whenever we have that linchpin quake event in Cascadia, expect there's going to be the unlocking right here, and these quake depths are going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, just like you're seeing these in the hundreds in the Alaska quake swarm area, and down here to the south. You see these in South America? They're well into the hundreds of kilometers deep. We have not yet seen that under Yellowstone, and when we do, expect a big jump in activity. This is the soft spot right here, because there are insufficient pressure relieving mechanisms, volcanoes, offshore volcanoes, like you have over here. Okay, big difference. What's coming to America? America has been spared so far, but this right here is an indicator of what's coming down here later in the timeline. So whether it's this uptick period or the next one, we're going to see lots of changes. Let's get back to the newsletter. Very little support for the for Project Black Star research this week. Cathal renewed his subscription, and Randy made a donation. Jackie, Roger, Tony, and Michael have chosen so far not to remove their subscriptions. Some of those are super subscribers once they renew. Been around since 2012, 2013. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. And then before I go, I want to mention this Thunder Energies. This company is really close to where I live. And May has, they're discovering invisible entities using a concave lens. This is a big step, something new, rather than conventional, the way that conventional telescopes work, and they are seeing things that are invisible, antimatter and things like that. And I've written them. Here's my email that I just sent them this morning, and I made a little listing for them, and I hope to hear from them. That's what I would love to hear from those guys. And we are not in the observation window yet. the black star doesn't become visible, if it was visible, until we make that 90-degree angle and we start coming around. Then it's a very small observation window. This is where the window is the largest, when we're looking straight up at midnight. The best time to look at this thing is going to be in May, coming up. But you can see it. You can see it when we get to outside orbit position, and around May the 1st. So the black star is actually relative to the sun in Libra, but when we're in outside orbit position, see, we're looking back at it. Then depending how close it is, it can be in Scorpio. It can be over this way, and as we're moving between the two stars like this, then it would appear to be retrograding. It would appear to be moving backwards, depending on how close it is or how far it is. So there's an area of space over here that I hope that these guys will be using their telescope and looking at. I sent the link to Don, our project astronomer, and maybe we'll get some communication, and maybe it's possible, I think it's doubtful, but it's possible, some type of new technology. See, I think it's unlikely that we're going to get an observation even using their new telescope, because artificial intelligence would recognize this as a threat to the House of Rothschild's underground Arc City program, and they would be among the dead astronomers coming up with the technology to see it. It's making me think that being able to see antimatter from distant galaxies and stuff is not going to be the technology that we need to see the black star sitting within an event horizon. I really don't think it's going to work out, but it's a shot. So we're going to give it a try and see what materializes from that. Then there's a lot of speculation about the blizzards. Are they being geoengineered? And the answer is going to be, well, yes and no. What the elite are using, their Tesla technology, their scalar square technology, weather creating technology, what they're using it for is to try to help the Earth maintain the appearance of equilibrium. It's not that the elite are causing the Earth changes, the black star is causing the Earth changes, and whenever the Earth loses its ability to keep equilibrium, we have too many superstorms, too many of this, too many of that, then they play with their new toy and they try to neutralize some of that stuff so that you guys will remain sound asleep. So it's like the opposite of what people think. Even CERN is a distraction. They want you to believe that they can do these things when it really is the black star. Because as long as you're focused on them, and that's the charm of the House of Rothschild, operating in plain sight, using their surrogates and their media moguls and things like that. So this is about as long as I want to go with the newsletters. I mean, with the update reports. 40 minutes just seems like it's too long. Somewhere in the middle, 15 and 40. And remember, this is last week's radio show. There's going to be a 128 sitting right here. If you download this newsletter on Friday, this link is going to be added on Thursday night after the radio show, after the show tonight. And remember, Black Star Thursdays are every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can get a free link to this newsletter. If you're not a subscriber, you can get a free link to this newsletter. And I've got about 1 or 2 more weeks of giving the newsletter link, the weekly newsletter link, out for free in the YouTube videos. So you can go there and to my YouTube channel and look in the description box, and there will be a free link for there. It's going to run about 2 more weeks. I think I'm going to do that. And thank you very much to everybody that supports the research. And you can subscribe to my newsletter and support the research at TERRAL03.com. And I'll see you guys on the next Black Star update report.